there's like the facts, and then there's the story that we lay on top of that. And so we want to be sure that we're really separating the two, because as long as those are intermingled, it's going to be really hard to make any sort of lasting change, because you're so attached, so married to the story.
Hey, Anna, do you think people are listening?
Yeah, why wouldn't they be? We make business so fun.
Don't we? In that case, let's introduce ourselves.
Hey, it's Anna and Selena and the 15-ish minute coffee chat podcast. Talking business doesn't have to be boring, so dive into our coffee chat conversations and learn something new for your small business.
All right, whatever. This is what we do. This is what we do.
Balance, harmony, and keeping it all together. Now, as a small business owner, you might feel like you have to give 100% to all the areas of your life that are important to you. This can cause massive burnout, which means that no area of your life is actually getting what it needs. So, how do you implement self-care techniques as a small business owner or entrepreneur? We're excited to have Alisha Carlson join us for today's conversation, balancing you, your family, and your small business in the 15-ish minute coffee chat episode featuring Anna and Selena. This is 12 seasons of helping entrepreneurs and small business owners build more profitable businesses. So welcome.
Yay!
Excited to have our guests on that's coming on today. We're so excited to be here with you today. I feel like the whole wellness, balance, harmony, that conversation is one that is so important for a small business owner. And it's one that you hear about, but actual implementation can sometimes be difficult, right?
Yeah. We're not going to shy away backstage. We were all just saying with Alisha that I wish we had recorded part of the conversation. She even gave us like a good tip. I'm not sharing it with you yet because we're going to wait for her to come up, but just things to think about. I think this year, my goal is really, like I said in one of my LinkedIn posts, like my vibe for this year is intentional. And this is an area I feel like I really need to be intentional in, because I put self-care and just balancing life with work and your health. And it's just a hard one for a lot of small business owners, or even CEOs, I can imagine, the big corporations.
Yeah.
Anna, what's our call to action? What are we asking people today?
Of course, it has something to do exactly with this. So we want you to drop into the chat. If you're listening right now, we want you to drop in what is one obstacle to your self-care, because there might be 50 different obstacles, right? But we want to know one of yours. What's the first thing that pops in your mind when you say, oh, I can't go do that because? What is
I'm going to tell you. On 3, we'll say one word, Anna. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Time. Oh. So yeah,
that was not planned.
No, because again, that's a road question, and this is just how we roll. But yeah, did you guys all say the same thing? I just really put it in the chat. Yeah.
We're super interested now.
Yeah.
How many of you said time just like we did?
All right. Okay.
Let's read Alicia's bio and get her up here.
Yeah, Alisha is a non-diet lifestyle coach. I like that. Non-diet, never heard of it, but like non-diet, like I'm excited. Of her company, The Strong Her Way. She's a devoted wife and mother, as well as the founder of Strong Her Way. She specializes in a non-diet approach to food, fitness, and life transformation, dedicated to helping her clients heal their relationship with food, exercise, their bodies, and themselves. She holds the belief that every single woman possesses a unique calling in her life and considers it a part of her mission to help them embrace that calling wholeheartedly. Carlson is convinced that every woman deserves to feel confident in her own body and believes that women have much more to offer the world than their appearance. She's committed to inspiring, equipping, and empowering women in every aspect of life. Ooh. Hi, I want to be her friend and her bestie. Like, I love it. And you don't think about it. Bring her, but we don't think about the relationship with food and how it cycles into all the other parts of your life.
Yeah. Okay. So before we go any further, I'm bringing Alisha up so she can join us. Ready?
Yeah.
Hi. We're
Welcome
so
to the
glad you're here.
show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
No, we're excited. Alicia and I did joke with Anna a little bit. I just want to call it out already. Alicia, Anna went and got a blazer, and now we feel very underqualified for this conversation. And she like did her hair up in a bun and all the things. So
I felt
yeah.
I'm going school teacher today. That's my vibe. I'm school teacher vibe today.
Oh, you made me think of you're my therapist. I need to lay down a couch and start talking.
I
That's
did-
where I went.
Did do a strengths coaching session this morning, so I
Yeah.
am going coaching vibe today.
Yes. Okay.
Lena, tell me how that makes you feel. No, I'm just kidding.
I just was
Alicia.
thankful that I showed up with real pants on instead of the business mullet leggings on.
Darn. So I'll tell you, if this is what I'm having, that is what I'm wearing on the bottoms. You know what I mean?
You've got the business mullet happening.
Yeah, for sure. We're super excited. Before we start the conversation, we always love to start it with a coffee cup selfie or whatever you're drinking. I have my little mug here and I have water, but all right. On 3, 1, 2, 3. I feel like I should have held up water, but that's actually I do have it. Just I don't know. Whenever you work with a fitness person, you feel like you need to be like, I have water. Like Alicia does not give off judgy vibes at all, but I felt like I still needed to share that with her. I want her to be proud of me for some reason and be like, all right.
You know what though? I feel like judgy could be one of those reasons that people don't do self-care. Right? That could be one of those obstacles. I'm excited to jump into this conversation because that's the kind of first question that we have for Alicia.
I know. Wait, before you start the question, can I just ask her, what did you think about it when me and Anna both said time for the obstacle?
So what's actually funny is when you guys said that, of course that makes sense, but the word that came to my mind was kids. And of course, obviously I'm thinking of a lot of my clients are moms. They are wives, they are trying to run their household, but they're either trying to run their own business as well, or they have the demands of working for somebody else 40 hours a week. And so time is a huge factor. I think the kind of the sub thing under that is feeling selfish or feeling guilty for taking the time.
Yeah.
Because the kids need me, or the family needs this, or the house needs this, or I need to do this for my boss or for my business. And sometimes even the business takes a backseat to everything else. So,
yeah. Okay. So that was our question, right? What obstacles do they encounter? So we've mentioned time, judginess might be another one. And then the third one you just said, which was
their kids.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, yeah. And even with when you say like the kids, it totally goes back into the time that you allot for yourself, right?
Mhm.
And the feeling guilty of it's either I do this for me or I don't cook dinner for my family.
Mhm.
Or I do this for me and my kid can't go to soccer practice because I need to. I didn't even think about it in that terms, but that's so true of why when I say time, why I'm saying time.
And so you bring up a couple of interesting things, even just with those scenarios, is a lot of times we're thinking either or. So either I cook dinner for my family or I take care of myself. Either I take the kids to soccer practice or I take some time for myself. And there are times when multitasking doesn't work, right? We know multitasking doesn't work when you're trying to split your attention between two competing tasks. However, multitasking can be a beautiful thing when we figure out how to do it appropriately so that it actually works. So in that example, I'm going to drop the kids off at practice and maybe I'm going to walk laps around the track. Or maybe while they're at practice, I'm going to go for a run, or I'm going to do a body weight exercise, or I can hit the gym really quick, or I can bring a book and sit and read, right? So it doesn't necessarily always have to be fitness related stuff, but in the nature of what I do as a fitness, nutrition, life coach, a lot of the reason the women that come to work with me is because they want to be healthier. They want to take better care of themselves. They want to feel better in their bodies. They also want to look better. They want to feel more confident. And so it always feels like it's this either or. And so I think a lot of what I get to do with my clients is figuring out how do we do both and.
That is such a good mindset shift, right? Is to stop saying if I do this, I can't do that.
Mhm.
Instead, to evaluate that, how can I get both of these things done? What opportunities do I have to include both of these areas of importance in my life? And like the first thing when you were talking about that, I was like, oh, that again, it was like, oh, it still feels a little overwhelming because now I'm multitasking everywhere I go, right? It's okay, I'm going to get this done and this done at the same time and accomplish two of the tasks. And then I think what happens is then we say, so now I need to fill where I would have normally taken that time with something else I have to get done.
Yeah.
And that to me, at least that's where I naturally go with, oh, I freed up 45 minutes. What other task can I do to fill that space?
And sometimes I think when that is happening in our brains, there's this thought or this belief that probably a couple different ones. One is that we have to be productive all the time, right? So I have to always be doing things. We see doing things for our family or our business or getting the house taken care of as being productive. We don't necessarily view taking care of ourselves as a productive task. Something else that I think happens, and I just had this thought the other day at the gym, is that a lot of times when we are thinking about exercising, particularly probably exercising or meal planning or meal prepping, we can view that as a chore. Like it feels like something else we have to do. It feels very heavy. It feels like this thing that we have to take care of. And so that approach typically has us procrastinating and putting it off, versus if we can again kind of shift that perspective as this is something that I am doing for myself, right? I know if I take some time to meal plan, to do a little bit of prep, that's going to save me so much time, so much energy throughout the week, but it's also taking care of myself. And this is really where I think the biggest, potentially one of the bigger mindset shifts is that we have to start viewing ourselves as an asset. Especially if you own your own business, you are potentially the most important asset in your business. And so I've really been thinking about how can I take better care of the asset, right? And even in your family, even in your home, my husband a couple years ago, this was probably one of the wisest things he's ever said, is that he was like, you're like the CEO of the family, right? Like you are making sure that everybody's getting where they need to go. You keep the house running smoothly. And if I'm not taking care of myself, if a CEO of Fortune 500 company is not taking care of themselves, is not treating themselves like the asset, how well is that business actually going to run? And so I think that's a really big shift that kind of has to happen, is we really need to start viewing ourselves as worthy enough to be a priority, worthy enough to take that time, just as important as everybody else in our families and our lives, just as important as our clients and our business.
Asset, you saying that, I don't know why that never dawned on me. That word, when you like win at a game and it goes ding, you said that and I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, like if Anna, I know there's other words, but I don't know, that one really is resonating with me, where you say, remember, you're an important asset of the whole of what you do. And without you, all those other things don't exist really.
Yeah.
And even when we think about the word asset, if you're thinking about investing, we want to be investing in assets because they're going to appreciate over time. They're going to give us a return on investment. And so I think even just being able to take that word and really look at what does it mean? It's like I am going to, if I invest in myself, I am for sure going to be delivering a return on investment in so many different ways. There's going to be so many ways that this compounds and comes back in the business, in the family, in our marriage, and our relationship with our kids. But yeah, so I just wanted to add that.
And I love that depending on the kind of thinker you are, right? Like you're touching all the areas of importance where you can say there is a return on investment. There's also a mental health aspect when you say you are worthy and you do deserve to be seen as an asset to your company. But also then if you really want your business to run well and you have an asset that's an important piece of it, if you let that fall to the wayside, you're wasting time, you're wasting money, you're wasting what you have available to you to make your business grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that thought process that you as a person, as the small business owner, as the entrepreneur, you are that asset. That really is like a powerful way of viewing yourself that gives you that permission to invest in what you need. I want to jump backwards to also what you said about when you're doing this meal prep, looking at it as something that's for you, not a chore that you have to just get done. That hit today. I ran out of coffee creamer because we did not grocery shop. We did not plan this week, right? So I ran out of coffee creamer, and that starts my day off badly, right? That's not a great way to start, is to be like, oh, dang it, I don't have what I need. And so anyway, that also hit home to me, like ultimately, if we don't do those things for ourselves, there is a detrimental effect.
Yeah. I feel like here's my problem, Alicia, is I love meal prepping, possibly, I love eating. It's the preparing it. I can't seem to make it fun. Do you know what I mean? Like and that's my struggle, right? Like I love to, and if I had honestly, I always said, if I hit it big and I have a millionaire, what would I have? I would have a hairstylist in my house, and I would have a chef. And I would eat anything healthy the chef made me. I'd be like, I'll eat it. This looks amazing. But if I don't have to make it.
Selena, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Do you
Okay.
clean toilets?
Yeah.
Do you clean the toilets in your house?
Yes.
How do you make that fun? Is it ever fun?
That's such a great
Good point. No. But now every time I clean the toilet, I'm going to be like, okay, I got to prove Alicia wrong. I can have fun. I can
Scrubbing the toilet ring.
No.
But I think your
okay,
point
good
is
point.
great, right?
Yeah,
like not
good
everything's always going to be fun all the time. You
Yeah.
still have to do it, or there's a benefit
Yeah.
to doing it, right? And there's a detriment to not doing it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you just literally shifted my mindset to realize just because I need to cook and meal prep does not equal always everything needs to be fun in your life to do it. You're absolutely right. I'm just flabbergasted. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Alicia. I'm stunned at it because you're so right.
Yeah, that is like one of my favorite things. And that comes up in conversations with probably every single client, right? Is it's like, oh, it's just not fun. And I'm like, are there other things in your life that you're doing that you don't really feel excited about, but maybe you feel excited about the result, right?
Mhm.
Like I don't get excited to clean my bathroom, but I like walking into a clean bathroom when it's done.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is to just share some practical ways that I've made meal planning and meal prepping a little bit easier. I actually just need to put this in a course, even if it's just a masterclass, because I have this little system that I walk people through. Happy to share some information on that with you guys. But one of the things that I have been doing, because a lot of times, even me, I have a lot of resistance to meal prepping. It's, oh my gosh, like I did figure shows a number of years ago. So much of my time was weighing food, cooking it, thinking about what I was going to eat next, thinking about what I was eating, that I think maybe there's a little bit of like residual PTSD or trauma from that. And not to make light of those things, but it really was something that was so heavy for me. And so one of the things that I have been doing recently that really helps is that if I'm cooking dinner, I just do a little bit of prep while I'm cooking, right? So it's if I'm putting something on the Traeger or the grill for dinner that night, I'm going to cook a few extra chicken breasts, or I'm going to put something else, or I'm going to brown some ground beef or some ground turkey just so that I have it on hand. I might cook a little extra rice or make extra salad and then put that in a container to just use. Because for myself, sometimes it's, oh my gosh, like it's so much work to make a salad. And I'm like, it really isn't. But even if I just put some lettuce with some cucumber, some carrots or whatever in a container, then I'm so much more apt to just go grab it throughout the week. So if you're already cooking, why not just prep a few extra things? Boil some eggs, cook rice or quinoa, roast some potatoes or some extra vegetables, because your mind is already in that space of cooking. You already know there's going to be a little bit of a mess. And so it doesn't maybe feel like quite as heavy of an ask or a heavy of a lift for your brain in that. So again, that's an idea or an example, I think, where multitasking can work. We just have to be strategic in the ways that we are trying to get a little bit more out of our time.
Alisha, I can see why people want to work with you.
Mhm.
I really do, because just in this, again, prior to us starting that, hitting that record button, you shared tidbits, and then just listening. I know I was like, it's a mind shift change, but literally you're giving me like really doable tips that just I can manage. And
Yeah.
yeah, Anna, what?
So in Alicia, in your intake form, one of the words that you used, or the phrases I should say that you used that I really liked, was personal operating systems. And basically what you said is people can put personal operating systems in place that will help them create that harmony or balance, or whatever word you want to use, between your personal life, your family life, your business life, all that kind of stuff. And this meal prep tip you just gave us, that's what that sounds like. One of those personal operating systems. Is that what you mean by that? What else would you say about, this was one of our questions. So I'm going to throw this up here. Alisha, what personal operating systems can we put in place to balance our lives, our families, and our businesses?
Yeah. So when I'm thinking of personal operating systems, I'm thinking particularly in a couple different veins. So there's the habits, the routines, those systems, right? So like I said, I have that meal prep and planning system in place. A lot of times to get my workout in, I go right after I drop my kids off at school. So that's built into a routine, right? I've just attached that habit onto a different part of the routine. So it just flows a little bit easier. But then I guess more the intangible thing is the way that you are perceiving and viewing the world. So this is that mindset shift, the mindset components, the belief systems, all of those different types of things. I would also expand that to say that it's the way that you view yourself. So it's your self-identity. It's what is that self-talk, right? I'm always listening to the things that my clients are saying about their circumstances, their situations, but I'm also listening for what are they saying about themselves. I'm just not a very disciplined person. I'm just not very focused. Okay, how easy then do you think it's going to be for you to start to implement things to be more disciplined when you're operating from the belief that you're just not a very disciplined person, or I'm all over the place, I'm a hot mess? It's stop saying that about yourself. Stop speaking that over your life, over your circumstances. And so there are a couple different veins there. There's the tangible stuff. This is like the grocery shopping, the meal, all of those kinds of things. It's, where are you going to get the housework done? How are you taking care of yourself? Those habits and routines as well. But then it also is what is continually being repeated in your brain about you, about your life, about your business, about your family, over and over again. I always tell my clients there's like the facts, and then there's the story that we lay on top of that. And so we want to be sure that we're really separating the two, because as long as those are intermingled, it's going to be really hard to make any sort of lasting change, because you're so attached, so married to the story. And if that's the case, then what circumstances would have you winning?
And that is such a good question, right? What circumstances would have you winning? Because ultimately there are none.
Yeah.
You aren't going to be able to overcome that if you refuse to shift the way you think about it. Like when you said to Selena, do you enjoy cleaning the toilets? I'm like, yeah, but in my head, this is what I said to logic this out, right? Cleaning toilets is not self-care for me, right? That is not what I look at and say, oh, I'm going to care for myself today and go clean my toilets. But
yeah,
the mindset shift.
Might have to beep that one out.
I know. I was like, pun intended. I mean,
I'm so sorry. The
best part ever.
The mindset shift is
with an H, guys.
having a clean
And there's
bathroom.
an F in there.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Okay.
There's an
Oh,
H in
man.
both. There's an
Yeah,
F in
yeah.
one of them.
It's
Yeah, that was my big plan, was to derail the conversation completely with
Totally.
that one.
well done, therapist Anna Larson. Well done. Well done.
Okay, but for
No,
real,
that's-
my
yeah.
mindset shift has to be that while cleaning the toilets is not the self-care, the end result of having a clean bathroom absolutely does play into my self-care.
Yeah.
Having that space, right? That to not feel uncomfortable in that space.
No,
And
that
so
was the best comparison to say it's not about sometimes that action that you have to do to get to the end result.
and that action isn't always going to be fun, right?
Mm.
That's where I think really that light bulb went off. It's not always going to be fun. The end result is what we're going for.
Yeah.
And that's where the real value comes into play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest point for me is in making that connection, is a lot of times we don't do the things that we know really would fill our cup or be protecting or taking care of the asset because it doesn't feel exciting, it doesn't feel fun. But I can almost guarantee there are a handful of things that you do, and depending on if you have kids, how old they are, like changing diapers was never fun for me.
Oh, I love
But I did it.
party.
Yeah, it was like every time, yay, another one. So I think it's just looking at that a little bit. And I think recognizing, and this kind of goes back to that, the judgy aspect of it, is just recognizing that we don't need to beat ourselves up. We don't need to be hard on ourselves. That we know doesn't actually help us take the action that we want to take. Understanding that the brain at a very basic level is always looking to have fun, to find the pleasure in things, to avoid things that feel uncomfortable, and to make things as easy as possible.
Mhm.
So if we know that is just like how the brain by default is wanting to work, then we can have a little bit of understanding, maybe have a little bit of compassion for ourselves. And so when it feels more exciting to skip the workout and stay in bed, that's my brain is just doing what it's supposed to do. So thank you, brain, but also recognizing that the brain's default mechanism is not necessarily thinking about what's in your best interest. So it's looking for instant gratification. It's looking for things to be as fun, as easy as possible. But sometimes the thing that's the most fun or the easiest isn't going to produce the fruit that we want down the road. So I think this is where sometimes it can help to get outside of your brain a little bit, just observe, become somewhat neutral about it, and just be really objective of let's understand what's going on from that biology perspective, but then also how do we come alongside ourselves and learn to be the coach, learn to be the cheerleader and that support system that we need. I think obviously this is where having a coach really can be helpful to at least get you in that place and start teaching you some of those skills and those strategies and those tools so that you can apply it to yourself. But that for me and for my clients has been the biggest game changer.
So good. Thank you so much, Alisha.
Yeah.
I love the direction this conversation went.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, in my head, this wasn't what I imagining our conversation would be about, but I feel so empowered, maybe is the right word, to make different choices and be okay with them.
No, I feel like Alisha went in my head and she just clicked on the light in this room that I didn't like to go into. And do you know what I mean? And I think that's how I feel, Alisha. Like you just said, it's okay. Like, I'm going to just show you something. And it's a toilet and it's not what I thought. But I was like, again, and just the asset. We could talk a ton. Honestly, this has been so fun. And I'm like, oh, fitness. I suck at these conversations sometimes because I'm bad at it. But today you did, I don't know. And Anna, you said it best, right? Having a coach it can be so great for yourself. And they're there to not change you, but to help support you while you go on that field and you play the best game that you've ever played. And I feel like Alisha would make a dang good coach. Seriously.
Let's share Alicia's toolkit and
let's do it.
Know like how they can find hers. All right. Alisha, your toolkit is your Strong Her Way podcast. Tell us a little bit more about it and what kind of topics you hit on this podcast.
Yeah, so the podcast is a great place to just take some of the stuff that we've talked about a little bit deeper. I talk about all different types of things related to fitness, nutrition. I do get a lot into the habits and really helping people understand why they do what they do, how they can hack their brain, hack the habit system that their brain has. I also bring different guests on. I've had recently a cancer coach that has come on. So she is a 3-time
Mm,
cancer survivor of an incredibly rare cancer. And so she supports other women
yeah.
who are going through or have come out on the other side of cancer. She also just shared some really practical strategies, which, it's lifestyle medicine, right? So it's the movement, it's the nutrition, it's managing your stress,
Yeah.
minimizing alcohol, those kinds of things. I've had a couple of different money conversations that I'm excited about. So we do cover a lot of different topics. So I think the podcast is a great place to start. I also have the Mindful Eating Project, which I can share that link with you guys as well. That's just a great kind of introduction to start getting into more of a neutral place with food. So introducing concepts around intuitive nutrition, really getting you to look at and challenge some of the dieting beliefs and behaviors around food and those kinds of things. And then, of course, if you want to book a call to see if working with me is a good fit, then you can do that as well on the Connect page on the website.
Oh, I love that. That leads us into the next slide. But I think just some of those topics, and real quickly, I'll touch on Anna and I were board members on a cancer nonprofit. So I love that you had a guest on because their bodies have changed so much through what they have gone through. And you don't think about it as a person that has not had it. And so you think what this person sometimes may get to do for their nutritional journey is very different for a cancer survivor or somebody that's going through cancer.
Yeah.
I love that you had a guest on like that because I think that's just top notch.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And
Mhm.
all the links that Alisha mentioned will be both on our blog, and then we'll also put them in the show notes for on the podcast and on the live stream. So you can
Mhm.
access all of that information just by the click of a link when you come and find Anna and Selena. All right.
Yes. Alicia, tell us like where you do. I know we said the podcast, but where's your favorite place to hang out on the social media platforms?
I spend probably equal amount of time on Instagram and Facebook. I am going to be dabbling in getting some videos up on YouTube as well. Now they make it so easy to just repurpose content that it seems crazy to just have it live in one place. Instagram, Facebook, my podcast, and then we'll be starting to put some stuff up on YouTube as well.
Can you and I do a video about the toilet? I just feel like that would be such a big hit, Alicia. Like I'm down. Just putting the
Yeah,
invitation out there, but we
I
can
want to
create
be
I'll
content
I'll take
together.
the invitation.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how we can make that come together, but I'm always up
Right.
for a
No.
challenge.
Yes, okay. I know we can. I know we can. Okay, Anna. Anna is always good at closing our show out because I ramble on because I love rambling on.
We just always love to make sure we say thank you so much to our guests. Alisha, what you shared today was absolutely value add for, I think, any small business owner and entrepreneur. And thank you to our audience, listening audience that's here with us today. We can't wait to see you at our next 15-ish minute coffee chat. Come find us at annandsleep.com and all your favorite podcast platforms and so on and so forth. We will see you the next time on the 15-ish minute coffee chat.
Yeah. Thanks, Alicia. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Did they actually make it to the outro music?
I told you this would work, Selena.
Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in to today's show. Now head on over to annaandselena.com to listen to more of the 15-ish minute coffee chat. We've got over 100 episodes, all geared to making your businesses more fun and profitable.